welcome to Ideas That Happen, a series where we explore some fantastic ideas, initiatives, and pilots that are shaping a more sustainable and resilient future. In today's episode, we're diving into batteries, and I'm joined by Piotr Grudzień, an innovation consultant in the field of energy storage. Today, he's going to introduce us to an inspiring initiative called COBRA that has developed a sustainable battery for electric vehicles. Thank you for being with us today, and sorry for butchering your name.
That was pretty good.
Okay. So maybe to kick things off, could you tell us a bit about yourself, your work, and how you became so interested in batteries?
Sure. So, my background is in energy engineering and innovation. And as my graduation project, me and my classmates, we were supposed to pick the one most exciting innovation and sustainability challenge in Europe. And for us, in the area of energy, it was to make the batteries more sustainable. So, I graduated from my studies, but then I thought, okay, there are still so many challenges to address in this area. So I decided to continue, and here I am, trying to still helping to innovate, to bring more sustainability to the batteries through initiatives such as COBRA.
Could you elaborate a little more on the sustainability challenges that batteries are facing?
Right. So essentially, the first thing that is worth to mention is that batteries, they help us to fulfill some basic needs, such as mobility, connectivity. You have them in the phones, in the electric vehicles, and they help to fulfill these basic needs without the need to burn fossil fuels. Mm-hmm. In general, batteries should be the good guys. Right. But unfortunately, to produce all these batteries, it takes quite a lot of energy. Yeah. Because they are actually to produce the batteries for electric vehicles. Each electric vehicle has more than 3,000 times the capacity of the regular battery in the phone. Right. That's a lot of batteries, right? Yeah. And also the second thing is that a lot of raw materials have to be used to produce them. And that's another challenge.
Right. So that's where the COBRA initiative comes in, because you've developed a cobalt-free battery pack for EVs. But why cobalt-free? What is the issue with cobalt? Can you explain?
Sure. The issue with cobalt is that this is the worst material that you can use in the batteries, since it is scarce. Currently, 70% of cobalt is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And unfortunately, very often it is mined with using child labor, unethical working conditions, because there are no safety measures on site. And Europe doesn't have a lot of influence on how this cobalt is mined. Right. There is a solution of recycling cobalt, but currently there is not enough batteries to recycle and get this cobalt from. Mm-hmm. So our approach is to not use cobalt at all. And this is how COBRA came into life. And together with 18 partners, we are trying to develop a battery that wouldn't have this material inside.
And you brought something along from COBRA. So what exactly are we looking at here? Can you explain what this is?
Of course. So what you're looking at is a battery cell. Mm-hmm. This battery cell is the one that is inside a bigger battery pack. Unfortunately, I was not able to bring the whole battery pack because I think it wouldn't fit into the studio. But just for you to imagine, in the regular battery pack, there are more than 100 of these, even in some of them, 500 of cells. Okay. Like this. And each of these cells, it has several components. It has two cathodes, like this one. Mm-hmm. And the positive electrode is called the cathode. And usually this is the cathode which is covered with cobalt. In our case, we're replacing it with manganese, which is a different material that you can find anywhere in the world, so it's more abundant. And for the battery to work, it has to work in a system. So there are quite many various components which make them much more complex than the battery inside your mobile phone. For example, you need the battery brain, which is the battery management system. You need a cooling system. You need a lot of sensors and a lot of wires to connect all these battery cells. And that's why we have so many industrial and research partners in the project, because they have to bring many innovations that would all together make this cobalt-free chemistry working.
Okay. So maybe not to get too technical,
Right.
You can explain your specific role in the COBRA project. What did you bring to the consortium?
Of course. So one big trap that many researchers fall into is that you develop innovations that that are not really useful, especially in the projects that last 4 years, like our project. There is a risk that the objectives that you set in the beginning are not relevant at the end of the project. And here we come with our market knowledge that we bring to the consortium through publishing bi-monthly market intelligence reports, where we showcase the network of stakeholders in Europe. We talk about market, technical, and policy developments to make sure that the innovations that we are developing here, they are actually fulfilling some of the requirements for the modern batteries. Because in the end, if this battery is weaker than what's already on the market, then why would you even use it? So that's our involvement to provide this knowledge and kind of validation. The market intelligence reports that we publish, they touch upon the most sought after topics in the industry, such as second life applications, solid state batteries, and also safety aspects, for instance.
Okay. Just to jump into safety there, concerns about batteries catching fire have been increasing lately. Why do these incidents occur?
Yes, I'm sure you've seen many videos on social media or on YouTube presenting, the batteries either catching fire or even exploding. And unfortunately, this happens. This incident is called a thermal runaway.
Okay.
And this thermal runaway, it happens because either the battery is exposed to some extreme temperatures, or it was mechanically damaged, for example, during an accident, or there was some short circuit because of some internal defect of the battery.
Okay.
And when this error occurs, then the heat propagates uncontrollably from one battery to another one, and you can imagine that there are hundreds of them in the battery car, in the electric vehicle.
Okay.
So that's why it's so difficult to contain it and extinguish the fire, because when the battery is punctured, then toxic gases, they get out of the battery casing, right, and they catch fire. So usually when the firefighters come, they have to evacuate the whole area. They have to cool down the battery. You cannot use water, okay, because it can make the situation even worse. So it's quite tricky.
Okay, it sounds daunting. How can we prevent this thermal runaway from happening?
There are several solutions that you can do. For instance, one of these approaches we have in COBRA is to replace the electrolyte, which is basically the liquid that you put inside the cell, to make it a non-flammable. Because usually the electrolyte is the main culprit because it catches fire very quickly. Mm-hmm. And if you replace it with something that is non-flammable, then it's already matter. And unfortunately, with time, the risk of batteries catching fire increases. So, for example, after 10, 15 years, you have to replace the battery from the car and transport it safely. And for that, you need some special containers.
Okay, when a battery does need replacing, when a battery is old, it's reached its end of life, what happens next? What do we do with the battery?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm pretty sure in your home, just like I do in mine, we have quite a lot of batteries from...
A drawer full of...
Exactly. The drawer full of batteries. We usually don't know where to put them. I'm sure in each of your neighborhoods you can find a special container for electronic waste, and that's where you put the smaller batteries, for example, from mobile phones or these AAA that you can find in toys or some other devices.
Right.
But obviously for electric cars, the situation is a bit more complex again, because as a battery in an electric vehicle, it weighs 400 kilos or even more. So you cannot just, take it from the car and put it somewhere.
Okay.
So you usually drive to the dealership or the logistics company comes. And then the EU regulations say that every single battery from EVs, it has to be recycled. Mm-hmm. So these batteries then are safely sent to the recycling site, and then some materials are extracted. However, another thing you can do is to reuse this battery, because it turns out that some of these batteries that you find in cars, they are still pretty good for stationary storage applications, such as, this power bank for your house. You can use the EV battery for even 10 more years, and this makes it more sustainable. And this is actually another project that we work with. It's called BatteReverse. We recently started. And in this project, we are trying to find, these more circular ways of handling the battery when it's no longer good for EVs. And our specifically our role is to map the stakeholders to understand what are the best business models that you can use to, extract the highest possible value out of the EV batteries. Okay.
Are there any regulations in place to ensure that batteries are handled appropriately when they reach their end of life?
Yeah, this area is very dynamic. Recently, we consult the industry quite a lot on how to find the best solutions to adapt their businesses to the new measures, because there are quite many new measures coming. One of them is called the new battery regulation, which was proposed several years ago, and now it's implemented.
Okay.
And some of the innovations included in this new regulation is, for example, the new recycling targets, that the recyclers, they have to increase the efficiency of the recycling processes. Another new measure is to include more recycled materials. For example, even if you have cobalt in the battery, then you have to use cobalt that comes from a recycled source.
Oh, I see.
And another topic that is quite recently that is discussed in the industry is the battery passport, which is a new thing.
Yeah, how does that work? That sounds interesting. Roughly when would that be introduced?
Yeah, I wish I could bring you very precise information about this, but this is still work in progress. However, I can give you some general overview. This battery passport is the first example of the digital product passports to be implemented in Europe. This is essentially a digital registry of information, such as the state of safety, what kind of materials are included in the battery. And then just to give you an example, if you are a recycler, then you would be able to scan the QR code on the battery and very quickly get all the details about the chemistry, the safety measures that have to be used. And this is a game changer. Currently, according to the current timeline, it should be implemented by 2027, the battery passport. And there are several initiatives that are helping to, test out different solutions. One of them is the Global Battery Alliance. Another one is the Battery Pass. It's a European initiative. And we also, in BatteReverse project, we also have one part of the project devoted to demonstrating the functionality of a working digital passport. In our case, we focus on the end of life of the battery.
Okay. So the battery passport sounds incredibly interesting. What else are you looking forward to in terms of future battery developments?
Right. I think I'm mostly excited about implementing the batteries to the aircraft because we all love traveling, but unfortunately, taking a flight is the single most unsustainable action you can take. And I'm looking forward to the future with the batteries that will be powering the airplanes, because then you could charge them with a sustainable energy and fly more sustainably. And to make it happen, you will have to make quite a big progress in terms of energy and power density, but also in terms of safety. And one of the recent developments are batteries with solid electrolyte instead of liquid electrolyte. That would help to improve these properties that I mentioned. And I think the other most interesting development for me is the growth of the second life battery industry. You can see quite a lot of startups popping up in Europe these days. And I think it's a great information for all of us, because while giving second life to batteries from electric vehicles, you can be more sustainable, but you can also, in the end, the batteries sourced like this can be cheaper, and some companies can make a good business. That's why we have also a strong focus on these new business models in the BatteReverse project, because we try to help this industry of young companies grow and take benefit of doing essentially a good thing for battery sustainability.
Okay, well, Piotr, you clearly know a lot about batteries and battery sustainability, so thanks for sharing some knowledge with us today. If anybody wants to find out a little bit more about you or your work, how can they find you?
I think the best way to get some information will be to visit the COBRA website. There we prepared a special interactive platform where you can browse all the innovations that we've developed in the project so far. And also make sure to visit the market intelligence page, where you will find more than 17 or 18 reports on all these things that I just told you about. Right. There you can find more details. And in case you're interested in the end of life of batteries, make sure to sign up to our BatteReverse community platform, where you will find more information about the recycling, second life, and so on.
Hey, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, and we'll be sure to put those details in the description box for everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you learned something, and we really look forward to welcoming you back for more ideas that happen.